Lapsley is recognised as one of the world's most experienced and credible emergency management leaders with more than 35 years' experience. What the former Emergency Management Commissioner doesn't know about public safety isn't worth knowing. He was also Victoria's first and only Fire Services Commissioner. He's worked in the New South Wales Fire Brigade and the CFA. Craig has literally made Victoria a world leader in emergency management, and his knowledge of aviation strategy is second to none. He's also the Chief Executive of company Innovation Pro and continues to work across the world and Australia with a focus on climate change and resilience building. Hi Craig, welcome to The Informer.
Well, thank you. Great opportunity to have a chat.
My pleasure. How are we looking with the forthcoming bushfire season, given the fact that we've had such a focus on the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, you're dead right. It's been an interesting time, hasn't it? We've come from bushfires last summer straight to COVID. It's still with us and still will be with us for many months, you'd suggest. And we're back into a summer, which means that we've got the bushfire risk coming back. It's interesting that we've had more rain, so we haven't got the drought conditions of what the previous years have brought. However, I think you're going to see prolific growth, or you will see prolific growth in the grasslands. That will dry through December, January and February. And you'll still have fires. You'll still have that hot day. You know, we're going to see the extreme temperatures, and all you have to do is mix it with winds and you'll have fire. So it will be there. And it certainly will be one of those grassland fire seasons, which means you've got fast moving fires that'll run up the back of houses. It'll threaten communities. And it's something I always say, we shouldn't be scared of fire. We just need to take it very serious, not only in Victoria, but particularly across Australia.
How has the COVID pandemic impacted on our emergency services?
I think it's been, one, they've done extremely well, but it's been a very testing time in the sense that it's fatigue. It's been months after months of doing things different. I think it's been fatiguing across the community as a whole. So our emergency services are there, like our community. But you got to say that, we've come through the COVID, and you hope to see us build that stronger resilience of what communities are about. I know myself, I've probably come a lot more localised and probably learned a lot more about my local community, which is a good thing. What we've got to do is make sure we use that, going forward, that it's a strength of what we're about and not something that just happened and, we go back to the old way of doing things. So, I've been really strong about community resilience, and I think we're seeing some of those community resilience factors really come out because of COVID.
Craig, what can we expect this summer? Are we prepared?
Look, I think we are prepared, but it always goes back to people having a plan that matches their situation. And you think about a summer, December's the get ready for Christmas time, school's finishing. January's the time when you're probably not at home, or you're travelling, or you're away on a holiday. So get yourself ready for that circumstance. And then February's back to normality. People are back at work, kids are back at school. So I think, it's got those phases that you can't just say a single plan will do it for you over summer. You need to have a plan that deals with your circumstances, your capabilities. And the other thing I always say is reach out to a friend, reach out to a neighbour, reach out to someone that you can help, that they'll need your support, particularly people that live by themselves or that have got vulnerabilities. It's a good thing to be a partner in making people safe and making sure you're safe.
I've been doing a bit of reading about your extensive background and experience, and I believe that you want to shift to an all communities, all emergencies approach to emergency management. To the layperson, what actually does that mean, Craig?
Yeah, well, we used to always talk about all hazards and all agencies, and that was very internal. It was about the hazard. What's a hazard? It's a fire, it's a rubbish bin, whatever the hazard is. So I think it's important to say all emergencies, and you think what we've just gone through. Quite often people think of an emergency being a flood or a fire or a car accident, and you think what we've had the last period where it's been the health emergency, the human health emergency. And I've just been doing some work with a couple of other states about fruit fly. So they're agricultural emergencies in our food supply and animals. So the all emergencies got to be broad enough to say it is all emergencies and not a hazard focus. And I think people get their heads around emergencies. And all communities means it's up to all of us. And I always use the term communities about a geographical community, you know, an Eden, Hope or an Essendon. But there's also functional communities, which is the sport and recreation community, the commerce community, the tourism community. So take it in the broader sense to understand what community means, that we do work together and, you know, and include people to do that, because it'll impact on all of us and it will be something that is broader today than the traditional emergency. So think broad, but think about the inclusion of everyone.
So it's think broad and act locally.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. We've got global pressures that impact us locally, but it's also making sure we include everyone. So, you know, a tourist that's in Victoria, Australia for a week is still someone we need to be able to communicate to. Someone that's lived here all their life is important. Someone that lives by themselves is important. You know, so let's make sure that all communities is all of the community members that participate in what we do. It's not about me, it's about we. I always say the we is powerful, so we do it together. You know, and I think that's that theme about it's broader than just the fire flood. It's all emergencies. It's broader than just it's got to be we. It's all communities, and I think it just badges it far better.
In the wake of the devastating 2019 and 2020 summer bushfires, the Royal Commission into Natural Disaster Arrangements, of course, has come out with some recommendations. Now, they've included the introduction of a national state of emergency, an all-hazard emergency warning app, and a national fleet of water bombers. Now, are they all feasible? I know it's a very long question, but could you sum up? Often Royal Commissions make a lot of recommendations that aren't mandatory. They're not even legislated. So how feasible are some of these suggestions?
I think the logic's there. The thing about a national app has been seen that, you know, Victoria's got an app, an emergency app. New South Wales has got a bushfire app. If you live on the border, you have to have both. They just stop at the border, the information stops. So to see some of those things that takes away the borders is important. If you live in ACT, you know, it's a different one than what's in New South Wales, all that sort of stuff. So I think we're now more, we have been for many years. We move quicker. We expect information to be more available. So that's important. The National Aircraft Fleet is a logical one. I think what you're saying is exactly that, is now how they do it and how they fund it. And when I say they, it's got to be not just the federal government, it's got to be the state governments, but I think it also got to reach back into private industry to get innovation. You know, let's bring innovation into it. The thing I say is Australia, in a bushfire sense, is one of the most bushfire parts of the world. We should be leaders in this stuff and leading the world. We have been before, and I think the Royal Commission saying is a real opportunity to do it again. So I think the recommendations to me have got a lot of logic. It's now how to do it and with who do we do it, and it's time to act. It's not time to talk about more and more. The Royal Commission's done that. It's action time. So I think, yeah, Rochelle, they're good recommendations, good process. Now they just need to get these things to happen.
The Commission certainly didn't shy away from acknowledging the impact of climate change. In fact, it said that climate change is going to continue to increase the frequency and intensity of natural disasters in Australia. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. The science is there. If anyone's not a climate change believer, just turn the words around and say there is a change in the climate. It's evidence-based. It's going to have an impact. We've seen it over the last 2 decades. We've seen it more in the last decade, and we've seen it more and more so in the last 3 or 4 years. The figures are there. I'm about to do some work in South America, all driven by climate change. We're seeing dramatically different impacts by climate in some of those countries. So it's a global issue. Fire is one of them, but it's not just fire, it's extreme weather. And what you're saying in the introduction, Rochelle, is right. The hot will get hotter, the wet will get wetter, the dry will get drier, and the more extremes will be more extreme. And we'll see weather events move within a matter of days from, you know, a really hot event to a wet event and to hail. We've already seen it, and they're more intense and they're more frequent. So we need to get our heads around that. The other one that comes out of that, Rochelle, is about resilience. So how are we going to become more resilient? And that's where I think, yeah, the next step in this whole puzzle is about our resilience and how we make the things that we rely on resilient as well.
You mentioned you're just about to head out to South America, and you're going to be assisting them with their aircraft in fire operations. Just give us a brief idea of what you'll be doing over there.
Yeah, well, it's the first time they'll have major aircraft for major fire operations. So I'm taking a fleet of about 7 helicopters from Northern America to Southern America, integrating it in major operations and also getting to fly at night. Now, the reason why am I doing that? One of the things we did do in Victoria when I was commissioner is we championed night operation of helicopters, bombing fires. They want to do that in Chile. I've got the opportunity to lead it, so it's going to be a great opportunity. Taking Chinooks, which are those really big helicopters with the 2 rotors on the top. First time they've been tanked, they carry 10,000 litres of water or 10 tonne of water. I'll have 4, if not 5 of them, a couple of Black Hawks. Yeah, a bit of a challenge, but all the technology's there. We've just got to get work for Chile, and also we'll do some work in Bolivia and looks like Brazil. So it's going to be a few months in South America, helping them do the things that we've already learnt.
Look, thank you very much for your time today, Craig Lapsley, and safe travels to South America.
Okay, and we'll talk soon. So thank you.